and welcome to another rambling review from Adventures in TV Land. For this rambling review, we're just going to talk about Flight Risk. Now, Flight Risk is a movie that stars Michelle Dockery and Topher Grace and Mark Wahlberg. Michelle Dockery, she is an actress who I did not know this before the movie, but she stars in Downton Abbey. And then, of course, Topher Grace and then Mark Wahlberg, they're much more well-known actors. It's a very small cast. You know, the supporting cast members in this movie, I mean, there's probably less than 24 people all total. Topher Grace's character, he is an accountant who for many years had been working for a mob boss. It's never really explained exactly why, but he went off the grid. He just left and disappeared, and he's been living in the Alaskan wilderness in a kind of a remote area. And the U.S. Marshals, led by Dockery, are able to track him down. When they arrest him, he says he will be a witness so they can bring the mob boss in, have a small chartered plane, which ends up being piloted by Mark Wahlberg's character, and they take off from this remote village. They're supposed to be headed towards Anchorage, Alaska, but things aren't exactly what they appear to be, and the situation quickly unravels. It becomes a little bit of almost like a cat and mouse game, but it's set on this little bitty plane. That's the basic plot line there. I think Dockery, she did a good job. I enjoyed watching her. It'd be interesting to see her in other things. Mark Wahlberg, he was very entertaining. I will say it was a little bit jarring seeing Mark Wahlberg as a bald man. He is a bald man. Saw a trailer for this about a month ago before the film came out, and so I knew what to expect in that regard, but it's still a little bit jarring there. It's an entertaining movie. It's enjoyable. The people in the audience, the theater I was in, they actually clapped and cheered at the end of the movie, which was a little bit surprising, but I mean, they had a good time, and I'm glad they did. There's no message in the movie. It does not have an agenda. It is not trying to educate you about anything. There's nothing being promoted. It's just a low-budget thriller set in one set for the most part, which happens to be 3,000 feet above the ground. There are some moments of CGI, of course, of this being a low-budget film. CGI stands out here and there every once in a while. I honestly it didn't bother me anymore, because it's not the CGI when it was used. It was a throwaway thing, and it wasn't integral to the plot for the most part, so it didn't bother me. There are a few twists and turns in the overall plot and the storyline as it unfolds. I had a good time trying to figure out, okay, what exactly was going on, because other than what's happening on the plane, you don't see anything. You don't see anything else in the outside world and what's happening other than through the voiceover on the satellite phone and on the radio. This is a type of movie that I would call like a mind candy movie, because it's enjoyable. You know, there's nothing to it at all, really, but it is filling, and you don't feel let down at the end. I believe the film made on a budget of $10 million. It's already made $11 million, so it will definitely make a profit, and it might actually be fairly profitable in the long run overall. Hollywood used to make all kinds of movies like this all the time, that they weren't big tentpole franchises or anything like that, but those were the films that actually kept the movie industry going. They haven't made many movies like that in recent years. I hope they start doing some more of that now again. The other thing about this film, I did not know ahead of time until the credits started rolling, but this movie was directed by Mel Gibson. I like Mel Gibson as a director and a screenwriter, so that's Flight Risk. I recommend it. It's not going to be something that you're going to walk away with thinking about for days later. It's just a nice way to spend about a little less than 90 minutes in the movie theater and just have a good time watching a movie. Well, this has been another rambling review from Adventures in TV Land. Until next time, that's a wrap.